So sharing Robbie's thing today about taking care of your parents when you get older really got me thinking a lot. And out in the garbage route, I've told you guys before, excuse me, um, it's pretty much autopilot. And I mean, it just have time to wander. And I thought about that so much, taking care of your folks. And there's a reason I live 10 seconds by car from my parents. There's a reason I bought this farm. Not only do I love it, but I love my folks. And as I say this, I realize some of you have one parent, no parents left. That's a tragedy. But uh, that thing that got me on that thing was I never want to be left alone. And I was in the garbage truck bawling like a bitch when I saw that. And the story of me buying this farm from Gertrude Fones is an epic story of desire, lust, working your ass off, chance. It was really never chance. It was more of beating off thugs with a stick. It's the greatest story I know, and I'll probably tell that maybe on Friday. But get back to Never Leave Me Alone. When I bought this place from Gertrude, she didn't like that name. Everybody called her Missy. Till the day she died, I called her Mrs. Fones. She was a Benedictine, double leg amputee at 78, I think, years old. And I went up to see her. I called her, and I said, "Do you settled?" She goes, "Yeah." So I said, "Visit her?" She said, "Yep." So I went up there, and I said, "Is there anything you need?" "No." "Is there anything you want?" And she didn't say anything. And I said, "Missy, Mrs. Fones, please, tell me what you want." And rough. She said, I don't want to be left alone." And I smiled, and I said, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "Well, you just had Jack, and your daughter's 5 years old, and your parents are busy." I looked at her and I said, "Do you think we hang around you because of me trying to buy your farm? I've known you since I was 12 years old. My stepfather's known you since he was 10. Your family does. And why would you worry about being alone?" And she said, "There's a lot of lonely people here." And I said, "I promise you, I never will." So at that, she said something which I will say in the sale of the farm thing, but it was so fun because she became, I think her husband was born in 1910. She was born in 17. He was a very strict man, and when Mr. Fones passed, I think Mrs. Fones, that late in life, really let her hair down. She was so much fun to be around, and giggly and laughy. So she's up at Benedictine, mid-thigh. She had cancer, mid-thigh amputee, and we'd go up there and get her all the time. I mean, I saw her 2 times a week. My stepdad saw her 2 times a week. Had another neighbor went up there. I mean, we never left her alone. It wasn't an option. Didn't go up there out of pity. Went up there because we liked her. She was fun, but Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, the holidays and stuff, after Mr. Fones died, even before she got cancer, she always came back to my parents' house and, had dinner with us and broke bread. It was awesome. But when she was at Benedictine, mid-thigh, amputee, in a wheelchair, she was hanging around a lady named Margot. And Margot had a walker. Margot was like 90. And we'd go up there to see him. My mom would take that big 180-pound Rottweiler, let him loose out of the elevator, and he'd run down the hall and sit at Mrs. Fones' door. I saw her 2 or 3 times a week. I mean, my parents saw her all the time. I would never leave a friend alone like that. And I have to end this on a happy note. So one of the last Christmases they came, and Mrs. Fones would come down, and like I said, her friend Margot started to come down, and we'd just go pick them up for Sunday dinner or whatever, and they were fun. But, they were older. And so Christmas, I'm watching those 2 old gals, and my parents have a huge farm table. And I look over, and they're taking straight shots. And I could be wrong, but I think it was a Crown. And they're laughing and shit, you know, and I'm like, what the fuck, what the fuck? Then I see him splitting a bottle of Bailey's. Little tiny shot glasses, you know, from the Bailey's, not for the Crown. The Crown was normal size, but they're sipping the Bailey's, and they both had a glass of wine. I'm thinking, gee, those gals are drinking a lot. So at that point in time, it was 2000 to 2004, somewhere in that 4-year range. Shelley and I had a newer 2004 runner, and it was the right height to load people like that. So I roll Mrs. Fones out. She was in a wheelchair, and I pick her up by her butt and put my legs underneath her thighs and lift her into the car. And she would, every once in a while, she'd nibble on my ear a little bit, just throw me off. It was fucking hilarious. She was fun. But I put her in, and then Margot standing there with her walker, and I'm like, Margot, you okay? She goes, Aaron, I'm sorry. I'm like, what? She goes, I'm going to need some help. I said, honey, what do you need? She goes, I need you to put your hand under my ass and lift me in the car. No problem. So I do that, and I get her in there, and he's fine, yeah. I put the wheelchair in the back and the walker in the back. I walk back around, and Margot is laying sideways over in my 4Runner, gasping for breath. I'm like, Margot, call a doctor, 911. She's flagging, no. I said, are you sure? And Mrs. Fones like, Aaron, she's fine. I'm like, what? I mean, 30 seconds of pure terror. I don't know this woman's family at all. I just take her out of the assisted care living. And Margot finally sits up, and you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I just lost my breath a little bit. I'll be good. So we head up to Benedictine, and we get rolling down the road, and they're both pretty quiet. And I said, Margot, did you get to drinking? And did you get laughing so much that you lost your breath? And like that. She said, Missy drank a lot more than I did. Missy drank a lot more than I did. And I'm thinking, I told him, I said, you too. I said, I feel like I've caught a couple 16-year-old, 17-year-old girls drinking out behind the school. I said, Margot, I adore you and love you, but I've known you, 6, 8 months? If you die in my car, I'm going to push you in the ditch with your walker. And we didn't check you out or anything, so that's where I'm going to leave you, because I'm not getting in trouble for this. And she laughed and said, all right, if my family comes back around, you just tell them that I left the party with the big brother. How's that? I laughed, they laughed. They were so much fun, and we took them back up to the assisted care facility. And a couple times later, the director came out, and she goes, you can't take these gals out of here and let them eat that lamb and all that rich food and everything, and let them drink, and you can't do that. And I said, okay, I'll talk to Mrs. Fones about it. So I went back up next time I came over, and I told Mrs. Fones, hey, the people gave me a little bit of shit about taking you home for fun. Next time I came there, the director was there and apologized. Sorry. She never lost her mind. She was always just crisp and clean, and it was an amazing person to know her. But for the fact that she said, my biggest fear is I don't want to be alone. It broke my heart, because I think it's all coming for all of us. All of us, all you guys. It is. Old and decrepit. Something on that video that repeating yourself and smelling. Hell, I'm 44. I do that shit all the time. So that's my Mrs. Phone story. I hope it was good. Love y'all.